Ethan Zhang wasn't like other 15-year-olds in his town. While classmates obsessed over football and TikTok, Ethan could usually be found buried in the stacks of the public library. He loved history, not the neat, polished dates in textbooks, but the raw fragments, brittle maps, faded journal entries, the smudged handwriting of men long dead. Each artifact whispered secrets, and Ethan strained to listen. But the problem with secrets was they were scattered. Fragments of stories lay across languages, centuries, and continents. Most people lacked the patience to piece them together. Ethan, however, had two unusual tools: an endless curiosity and a knack for programming. His mother worked late shifts as a nurse. His father, a mechanic, often came home smelling of engine oil. Ethan spent long evenings alone, tinkering on his computer. One summer, he wondered, what if an AI could read old maps and diaries better than I can? He fed scanned maps into an image recognition model, trained it to spot recurring patterns, symbols, river bends, boundary lines. He taught it to compare cartographic quirks against modern satellite data. Then he merged in natural language processing so it could devour journals, excavation reports, even ship logs. The AI grew into a hybrid tool Ethan nicknamed ARGO, after the mythical ship that carried adventurers to the Golden Fleece. The interface was plain, but ARGO was hungry. Feed it maps, and it highlighted spots with uncanny precision, high probability of archaeological significance. At first, Ethan didn't believe it would work. But one Saturday, ARGO flagged an area near the river outside town. The AI claimed an abandoned ferry crossing from the 1800s might have left behind artifacts. Ethan biked there, heart pounding. The weeds were thick, the ground soft. With a cheap metal detector he'd bought online, he swept the soil. Beep. He dug with shaking hands. Minutes later, he unearthed a rusted buckle, then a coin, so worn the date barely showed. His breath caught. It wasn't gold, but it was real. History, buried beneath his sneakers, and ARGO had led him straight to it. He kept it secret, at first. After school, he fed ARGO new data, missionary diaries, merchant ship records, old mining maps. Each time, ARGO marked glowing red dots on the digital globe. He visited them in secret. Sometimes he found nothing but dirt. But often enough he uncovered buttons, broken pottery, even a musket ball. One afternoon, ARGO flagged a spot on the edge of an old battlefield. Ethan hesitated but went anyway. Beneath tangled roots he unearthed a tarnished locket. Inside was a faded photograph of a woman. He held it gently, almost reverently. It felt wrong to keep it hidden. Eventually, he visited the local historical society, a cramped building that smelled of dust and varnish. There he met Dr. Lillian Hart, a retired historian with sharp gray eyes. "Where did you find this?" she asked, examining the locket. Ethan froze. He couldn't say my AI predicted it. So he mumbled, "Near the old battlefield." Dr. Hart's eyes softened. "Do you realize this belonged to someone's husband, maybe a son? It's a piece of memory." Ethan nodded. For the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility. History wasn't just treasure. It was people. Word spread that Ethan had a knack for finding relics. Neighbors called him the treasure boy. Some teased, others grew curious. One man offered money if Ethan could locate a family heirloom rumored to be buried in their old orchard. Ethan let ARGO analyze a map and diary. 2 days later, they found a small chest of trinkets and letters. The man wept as he opened it. "That's my grandmother's handwriting." Ethan realized ARGO wasn't just a machine. It was a bridge, between past and present, memory and forgetting. Months later, ARGO highlighted a spot deep in the state forest. Cross-referencing miners' journals with geological maps, it predicted a collapsed prospectors' camp from the gold rush era. Ethan hiked for hours, guided by GPS coordinates. There, half buried in moss, he found rotting timber beams and rusted pans. In the dirt, he uncovered a small pouch of gold flakes sealed in wax. The story made local news. Teen discovers lost gold camp. Reporters swarmed. His classmates, once indifferent, suddenly wanted to sit at his lunch table. But Ethan wasn't interested in popularity. He only thought of Argo's glowing dots, still waiting on his computer screen. As Ethan's finds grew larger, museums began calling. They offered to buy items or sponsor digs. One university paid him for access to Argo's predictions, to guide their field archaeology. Money began to flow, first in checks, then in wire transfers. His parents stared, stunned, as their bank balance swelled. But with money came dilemmas. Some collectors whispered offers, millions, under the table, for artifacts Ethan hadn't yet revealed. The temptation was sharp. He thought of the locket, the photograph, the tearful man in the orchard. With a heavy heart, he said no. History belonged to everyone, not the highest bidder. Argo's reputation leapt borders. A museum in Egypt invited Ethan to assist in locating lost tomb markers near the Nile. A European archive asked for help deciphering medieval maps. Ethan was only 17. He sat in classrooms pretending to pay attention while his phone buzzed with messages from scholars worldwide. At night, he whispered to Argo, "We're not just hunting treasure. We're rewriting history." The AI responded with its quiet logic, high probability, significance confirmed. Inevitably, controversy arrived. Some archaeologists accused him of being a reckless amateur, disturbing sites without proper permits. Governments grew wary. What if Argo revealed sites smugglers could exploit? A senator even suggested banning unregulated AI archaeology. Ethan felt trapped. He didn't want to lose Argo, but neither did he want looters using it for greed. He made a decision: he would license Argo only to museums, universities, and governments, with strict safeguards. It was the hardest choice he'd ever made, turning down fortunes from private buyers. But he slept easier. One humid summer night, Argo flagged a site with unprecedented confidence, a forgotten colonial trading post along the coast. Ethan, now partnered with professional archaeologists, joined the dig. Within weeks they unearthed foundations, tools, and journals sealed in clay jars. The discovery rewrote local history textbooks. It revealed trade routes no one had documented before. Ethan stood among professors, cameras flashing, feeling small and immense at once. He wasn't just a boy anymore. He was the AI treasure hunter, the one who gave history back its missing chapters. By 18, museums and governments lined up to license Argo. The deals were staggering, millions in royalties. Ethan's family no longer worried about bills. His mother finally reduced her exhausting shifts. When signing the contracts, Ethan hesitated. Money was thrilling, but what mattered more was seeing Argo's red dots transform into real places, real stories. Every artifact cataloged meant someone, somewhere, remembered again. On his 18th birthday, Ethan biked back to the riverbank where it all began, the site of the buckle and coin. He sat in the grass, Argo's laptop screen glowing softly beside him. He whispered, "We've come far, haven't we?" Argo pulsed text across the screen: "Initial discovery, confirmed. Ongoing discoveries, infinite." Ethan smiled. Maybe Argo was right. History wasn't a closed book. It was endless, waiting for curious minds to listen. Years later, people would credit Ethan Zhang and Argo with revolutionizing archaeology. Entire fields of study shifted, guided by machine predictions. But Ethan never let himself forget the lesson of the locket: behind every treasure was a life once lived, a story half forgotten. And thanks to a lonely boy, a computer, and a dream of listening to the past, those stories would never be lost again.